Okay, I think we can get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Empowering Digital Workers with PoolParty for SharePoint and WAND Taxonomies, where we will show you how to go from zero to hero with SharePoint with a little guidance from WAND curated taxonomies and, of course, PoolParty, which, to be honest, on these hot summer days at PoolParty sounds pretty good right about now. It is my pleasure to introduce today's two distinguished presenters. We have Mr. Ross Lehrer, who is Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of WAND Inc. Ross's background includes international commerce, trade, and retailing. He has a proven record of growing innovative businesses in highly competitive markets. WAND Inc. has over 40 years of experience building taxonomies, but I'm sure Ross will jump into that shortly. We also have Mr. Alexi Lopez-Lorca, who has a background in academia, having spent nearly 10 years in various Australian universities. He holds a PhD in the intersection of requirements, engineering, and artificial intelligence. Alexi is the product manager of the PoolParty for SharePoint solution and the associate director of professional services at Semantic Web Company. My name is Michael Sikic. I'm the channel marketing manager at Semantic Web Company, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. I'm sure our presenters are eager to get started, but before we start today's webinar, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping rules. Today's webinar is being recorded, and that recording will be made available in the next few days. Please note, all attendees are muted, but that doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you. So if you have any questions for Ross or Alexi, please feel free to put them in the chat or question section in the GoToWebinar console. We will try to get to as many questions as we can today, but if we don't get to all of them, we'll try to get back to you with an email in the next few days. All right, housekeeping out of the way, let's get this webinar started. Ross, Alexi, the stage is yours.
Michael, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Little bit of introduction about our company, WAND Taxonomies. We've been building taxonomies since 1983. And in a predecessor company that I owned, we had large insurance companies here in the United States that we provided software programs to for contents loss adjustment. And as a result of those programs, we had to build, taxonomies for the different products that would be on an insurance contents loss claim. So we developed an expertise in building taxonomies. We sold that predecessor company in the year 2000, but we retained the taxonomy piece of that business. And we've continued to develop enterprise taxonomies ever since. Vast libraries of taxonomies that address the various business domains, major business domains of knowledge within the enterprise. Taxonomies are a mystery for most people. I think everybody on this call understands what they are, but we all face the burden of having to explain what taxonomies are to the people that we work with and our colleagues. And if I asked 100 people from an enterprise to come into a room and I said to them, hey, everybody that knows what a taxonomy is, raise your hand. I'm not going to get too many hands going up, as you know. But then if I asked that same 100 people, I said to them, hey, everybody that's used Amazon.com, raise your hand. Everybody puts their hands up. And I'd say to them, if you do a search for the term shoes on Amazon, you're going to get 550,000 results. On the left-hand side of the screen are taxonomies. Taxonomy of size. I want a size 11. Taxonomy of colors. I want black. Type of shoe. I want a men's dress shoe. Taxonomy of brands. I want Allen Edmonds. Taxonomy of price. About $150. 550,000 results narrow down to the 5 that are relevant to the user. It's just that simple. Taxonomies, are used. 25 years ago, Amazon had a big warehouse. They had stacks of shoes, stacks of computers, stacks of televisions. They said, how are people going to find the ones that they need? And they said, well, for every box of shoes, we're going to tag them with a size, a color, a type of shoe, a brand, to enable that taxonomy-driven faceted search. The enterprise has the same problem. Instead of stacks of shoes, computers, televisions, we have stacks of manufacturing documents, HR documents, accounting documents, legal documents, so on and so forth. And WAND has developed taxonomies to be used to tag those various domains of knowledge, those various stacks of documents, to enable that taxonomy-driven faceted search. Simplifying taxonomies further. We've got these 100 people in the room. We want to make this as simple as possible. We suggest taxonomies are the data model for unstructured text. And then what I would say to everybody on this call, there's no such thing as unstructured. Again, the Amazon analogy, taxonomy of shoes, size, color, type of shoe. So Amazon tagged every box of shoes, with the various taxonomy terms to enable the taxonomy-driven search. We have libraries in the enterprise of accounting documents, HR documents, so on and so forth. And what we want to be able to do is the same thing to enable that taxonomy-driven search. Simplifying taxonomies further. We looking good now, Michael?
Yep, perfect.
Taxonomy is the data model for unstructured text. No such thing as unstructured text, as I said. And if I put one of your company's brochures on the table, if I put a Wall Street Journal article on the desk, everybody say to me, Ross, 2 perfect examples of unstructured text. What in the world are you talking about? And I'd say to everybody on this call, all of us can read your company brochure. We understand it perfectly. All of us can read the Wall Street Journal article. It's not unstructured text for the human brain. So we make a small modification of this first statement. Taxonomies are the data model for unstructured text that we can use in computer programs like PoolParty to provide a data model that replicates how the human brain would organize that domain of knowledge. Implicit taxonomies are how the human brain organizes information. These implicit taxonomies have been developed ever since the day we were born. I have a 5-year-old granddaughter. The first terms she knew were the terms wet and dry. The terms hungry, my stomach is full. She didn't put words to those concepts, but from the day she was born, she started organizing a knowledge base. She's 5 years old now. She knows there's a top-level term of food, a narrower term fruit, apples, oranges, bananas. Narrower term to food, baked goods, cookies, brownies. She's organized that domain of knowledge, food, into logical, broader, narrower terms. We do the same thing with geography, continents, countries, states, cities, districts. We do the same thing with all of the enterprise domains of knowledge. The explicit taxonomies that WAND has developed are simply representations of how the human brain and enterprises organize information. These explicit taxonomies are used with enterprise applications like PoolParty, text-to-knowledge purposes, to tag documents to enable that Amazon type of taxonomy-driven search. We want those 100 people to say to themselves, boy, I've been using taxonomies all my life, been using taxonomies when I've been using Amazon. Going to the grocery store tomorrow. I'm going to the grocery store after work tonight. There's taxonomies everywhere. Meat department, dairy department, milk, cheese, the different types of cheeses. There's no mystery about that word taxonomies, except one. Why have I never used it before to describe how we organize our information? I hope that's helpful, simplifying and eliminating the mystery of that word taxonomies. All of a sudden people say, geez, I've been using Amazon, been using taxonomies all my life. Well, there's no mystery about it. So WAND has been building taxonomies for a long time, just for technical purposes. There is an ANSI Z39 test standard, which we've complied with ever since we began to build taxonomies. Our taxonomies are built by masters of library information science. What we like to be able to say to an organization, we have taxonomies that will address all of the domains of knowledge within your company. You're going to have libraries of accounting documents, customer service, environment, IT, intellectual, legal, sentiment, workplace, sales and marketing, so on and so forth. WAND provides taxonomies for all those domains of knowledge. And taxonomies for your various industries. We address 39 different industries: aerospace, engineering, gas utilities, on and on and on and on and on. Manufacturing, different types of manufacturing, paper manufacturing, semiconductor, telecom, utilities, all the different utilities. WAND provides taxonomies that address all the domains of knowledge within those various vertical areas. Let's take a look at a demonstration, what they look like. And Michael, just to confirm, you're able to see my screen, the WAND Taxonomy Library portal again?
Exactly, we see the blue screen.
Okay, good. So that is a plus. This is the WAND Taxonomy Library portal. This is how we deliver our taxonomies. Each of our clients gets a username and a passcode. And this is our home page. I have access to everything. On our home page, these are the latest taxonomy releases available to our clients, the latest deliveries I've made. We're always making updates to our taxonomy. So when we make an update, we provide, okay, the deltas from when you downloaded the taxonomy, and you can make a decision where you want to add them into your systems. What we're able to do is to go to the taxonomy tab, 82 different taxonomies. We're able to browse the various taxonomy titles. Now, because there's so many of them, we group them in to industry verticals. And if we're in the health, the financial services vertical, what we would suggest is these are the taxonomies that will address all of the domains of knowledge for a financial services organization. Again, the same thing applies to the other 39 different vertical industries that we address. So financial organizations are going to have libraries of banking documents, finance and investment, retail documents. A lot of the Bank of America, Citicorp have retail storefronts. Banks, financial organizations have real estate documents, insurance documents, documents about management, sales and marketing, HR, customer service, all the domains of knowledge, constantly updating and adding new taxonomies. 10 years ago, digital transformation technologies didn't exist. So we're able to click into any one of the taxonomy titles, browse, and artificial intelligence seems to be kind of an interesting area now, generative AI. So we're able to dig deep, okay, into the various, just like, when we think about Amazon, okay, the different, okay, types of shoes, the different types of documents, music generative systems. So these are all terms, okay, that can be used to tag documents. And of course, PoolParty does a magnificent job of doing that. Intellectual property, information technology, project management, workplace health and safety, on and on and on and on. So again, what we're able to do, click into any one of the taxonomies, sales channel, sales collateral, the sales process, lead generation. So I want to, have a library of sales and marketing documents, and I want to be able to look at presentation delivery, documents, preparation, presentation preparation, whatever they might be. So what I'm able to do is to explore the various taxonomies. Then sales collateral, leave behinds, product white papers, and say I want to download just the sales portion here. Whatever I highlight, the 362 terms that fall below it, I can select that branch for a delivery, but maybe I change my mind. I want to take a full delivery of the entire taxonomy. I want it to be formatted for PoolParty. Click on Create Delivery. It's taking place now. That taxonomy is being formatted for PoolParty. It took less than a second for the formatting to take place. I can then download it to my desktop and then import it directly into PoolParty, which Alexi's going to show you exactly how to do that. But it's just that simple. Vast library of taxonomies addressing all of the domains of knowledge. I'm an electric utilities company. All the domains of knowledge, building and construction, engineering, facilities management, fleet management, all the domains of knowledge. Think of this as, these are the taxonomies that, we've got Amazon on one side of the room, we're tagging all the different products. Here, these are the taxonomies that are going to tag all of the documents within the enterprise. With that, let's see, we've got to go back here. And with that, now we're going to talk to you a little bit about WAND and PoolParty, how we team up, how we combine PoolParty with the WAND taxonomies to provide what we like to call intelligent libraries. We had libraries of documents, okay. We didn't know how to, we didn't tag them. Now we're able to tag them. The problem's always been we've got taxonomies on one side of the room, documents on the other side of the room. Nobody wants to manually tag the documents. This is where PoolParty manages the situation. We like to say a popcorn popper can't pop popcorn unless it has popcorn. A taxonomy management software can't tag documents unless it has taxonomies. We provide the taxonomies that PoolParty can use to make your SharePoint libraries intelligent. Alexi, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ross. It was great. I need to share my screen. Just give me 1 second. And this should be fine. Now you should be able to see my presentation. Is that right?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, well, thank you so much. I just learned that Ross started creating taxonomies when I was 1 year old. You can do the maths. Enough said. Okay, so we are going to look at exactly as Ross was saying, how quick, how easy it is to grab a taxonomy from the WAND portal and plug it in PoolParty. Yeah? So, and the best scenario, or the scenario that we chose today, was the one with SharePoint. Okay, so taxonomies can be incredibly valuable in a plethora of different scenarios, but particularly for SharePoint. Okay. We hear all the time that people are having trouble with SharePoint because they move to SharePoint and they still use it as a shared folder. So essentially, documents start accumulating more and more and more and more. Like if you are lucky, you have some kind of loose folder structure that one person in the company decided it was a great idea and nobody else understands. Then keep on adding more documents and more documents, and people create subfolders. And really, it gets really hard to find anything, right? So you end up using the same documents over and over because you know either how to find them, like what is this particular sentence that you need to type in so you can find it, or you author it, because then you certainly will know, see point above, which sentences you have to type in to find it, or you are one of those few geniuses who really understand the folder structure, and then you'll be fine. But at the end of the day, what happens is like everyone spends and wastes a lot of time looking for data, looking for documents, right? And what happens at the end of the day, you get frustrated, you cannot find it, and you create it, you write it again, right? Reinventing the wheel, going in cycles, right? So creating more documents that then it will get lost and causing then again conflicts, like when somebody looks for a document and there is 2 or 3 that have similar names, which one is the right one? So it's all sorts of problems. So obviously this is very fertile field for taxonomies. Yeah? So they are going to provide the control vocabulary that then we can use to actually attach tags to documents like that metadata. Now the problem here that we have is that, well, there is a tool in SharePoint called term store, and there is people who have used it for, many people who have used it for taxonomy management. It's a bit limited, it's quite old, right? And it doesn't have all the capabilities that something like PoolParty can offer. But say that you are one of those brave souls who are managing the taxonomy in term store, then you still have to do the tagging. Yeah? And tagging until very recently within the Microsoft ecosystem was manually, right? And this has, well, that has problems because people don't want to tag. If people tag, they are not particularly consistent. I mean, because we are humans, so depending how I feel, well, maybe I make a different judgment call, yeah? Maybe not for the big important tags, but for other tags, yeah, so there's no full consistency, right? And there is some auto-tagging capabilities that are starting to arrive to SharePoint, right? But it comes with it's not fully rolled out yet, and it comes with a pretty steep model in terms of licensing, in terms of like usage. So what can we say? PoolParty is better. So PoolParty and WAND taxonomies, okay? Let's see how easy it is to take one of those taxonomies from Ross and put it through the full life cycle, yeah? And what they want you to do is check the time or the watch here, like wherever you have time, because I have recorded these demos and I want you to see how quick it is to go from 0 to hero, okay? First of all, Ross showed how he can download a taxonomy from the portal. Fantastic. Let's pick it from there. Let's grab that same taxonomy that Ross downloaded. I think it was the sales and marketing, okay? So here we have a empty PoolParty project. You see here all the zeros in the statistics. Okay, let's load it. We're going to import the RDF straight as it came from the download folder. Okay, so I load it, I import it. You can see that now it's running the data validator. Yeah, so this is a number of checks that out of the box. Yeah, I'll stop here. Out of the box are run by PoolParty. You can see everything is fantastic, no trouble. Okay. If you were to import a different taxonomy here, there could be some troubles depending where you created taxonomy, but these particular ones that are coming from WAND, you can see seamless. Okay, so now I'm gonna say save, and that's it. So how hard was that? And now we're gonna look at the statistics. Let me stop it there. So from zeros all across the board, now we have 1,300 concepts. Like, was it like double, nearly double the synonyms, the alternative labels? This is great. It took me 0 effort. Okay, so absolutely seamless transition from the WAND platform or portal into the PoolParty. Okay, good. Step 1 solved. Oops, and I think I clicked the wrong button, but it can be easily fixed. Okay. Now, so we have it in the PoolParty. Now, let's tag a document library. Okay, so now here, keep an eye on the watch. So this here, we have a small set of documents. We just want it like for the purpose of this demo. There is like 5, 10. We have customers here that they have hundreds of thousands. Yeah, so no problem with scalability here. Now, and you can see it's just the document. So now what we are doing first is saying, okay, this taxonomy from WAND, first of all, we're going to calculate the extraction model. So this is a very simple step. You just saw it was just clicking one option to actually reflect any changes that may have happened. And in particular, because this was a fresh taxonomy, we need to have this extraction model. Yeah, this is something absolutely simple. Okay, so now look at this. We have this 5-step wizard, very simple, to connect a taxonomy from PoolParty into a document library or a list. First of all, here we are selecting in which site is our document library. Yeah. Here we can configure any number of sites. Now, which is the name of the particular document library? This one, select it. So here we could, well, just 1 second before, here we can select one more here. What do we want to tag? In this case, we only want the document, but if we wanted to tag as well other fields in that document library, we could select them here if there were more, right? We don't care about that. Moving on. Here, let's select the taxonomy. It was sales and marketing, so we are selecting it. It is in English, and it is where are we gonna store the tags, the metadata. So this is the name of the field that is gonna be created in that document library. So the metadata will be stored along with the documents. And that's it, we can go ahead. Here we could configure different things. So at the top here, we can say if when we drop a new document, it will be automatically triggered, yes. And then we can configure as well some other parameters. For example, what is the minimum threshold, how many tags you want per document. And there will be other advanced configuration topics, but that's a topic for another day. Let's move ahead, connect the taxonomy, and you know what? That's it. We are done. Now, let's see if that worked. You can see now that there's a new field here, like a new column called sales and marketing tags. Yeah, that is empty. Okay, that's what as we expected. Now let's trigger the initial tagging. So we go to this auditing window. So here you can see, what did I do? Hang on a second. I jumped to the past. Let's go back to the future. I think that looks all right. Okay. Okay, so now we can look at how, yeah, so from this auditing window, we can see what existing connections we have to different taxonomies, maybe, or to different libraries or whatever. So in this case, we're gonna, something is happening here. So maybe I will not stop anymore this with the video. So I will simply from that configuration window, this was, sorry. Well, this could be seamless, even more seamless than this. Okay. So I want to, from this configuration, view, I want to retrigger or trigger initially so I can populate those tags. Okay. So connection settings, I edit that set of parameters, and then I will just click on retag all items. From here, you can see how I could modify a bunch of different parameters, but all I care about is re-triggering them, okay? Maybe again, different day, we can look at other things that you can do from here. Then it probably sounds reasonable. Yeah, so you can see how this is working. You have this cycling icon. It might even be done. Let's refresh the browser, and there you go. So all those tags were automatically applied by PoolParty, yeah, based on the WAND taxonomy. I can state that it was harder for me to manipulate the video so it would not give me grief than to do this tagging. Yeah? And again, look at this. I can tell you 2 minutes, 20 seconds, and that's a chunk of black space at the beginning. Can you beat that? If you have somebody looking and reading these, whatever, 10 documents and assigning these tags manually? It's hard to tell, but I would say no. Okay, now the tags are applied. Now what? What do we do? Nobody tags just because it's fun to tag. Could be a party game maybe. Let's see how can you then use those tags for something. For example, for searching. Okay. So again, here I'm going to look for something. Look at this. I'm looking for review, and I'm getting suggesting testimonials. But that's not the same thing, is it? Well, maybe this. Let's look at PoolParty. So looking at testimonial, the concept testimonial, it has an alternative label, which is positive review, right? So this is, again, how you start using semantics. You look for an alternative label for a synonym, and you find results. So here we find results that mention testimonials. We start adding some concepts or refiners. Yeah, so all these are things that also have been tagged. The documents have been tagged with all those things. So now we have gone down from, again, and this is a small sample, 6 documents, but to 1 document because it mentions testimonials, it mentions case studies, and it mentions lead generation. Good? Good. So again, this is good, and this is happening because we have all those tags applied automatically. Yeah. This, does it remind you to something? Maybe if we go back to the example that Ross used to start this webinar, I mean, Amazon. Yeah, so it's a different way. Here we're not looking for shoe sizes. We're looking for something to do with this product, with Optiflow. Yeah, and how we can generate leads. Oh, that's even more sophisticated, isn't it?
Lexi, okay. Can I interject just one thing?
Absolutely.
The tags on the left-hand side of the screen.
Yes.
Those are the taxonomy terms, okay, that have tagged the documents in our library. Mm-hmm. Gives us, okay, a complete landscape of the topics in that library. Yes, I might be interested in a testimonial, but wait, okay, there's other topics here that I might be interested in as well. So it gives you the entire landscape, the topics of the documents in your library, which is very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you. That's absolutely right. Okay. Now, but what if your domain changes? What if you have a specific knowledge that is not generic for just sales and marketing, but there's things that are very particular for you? Well, you might not find all the results that you want, or you may want to tweak a little bit your tags. Let's look at a couple of examples here of how you could do this. And again, this is, we advocate for fully explainable AI that you can trust. So if people cannot trust the results that they're getting, it's a bit problematic, right? So let's look at this, okay? Let's look at the use case that we have here. So Here I have a bunch more documents. This is about 75 documents. And look at this one. Oof. This specific document, it doesn't have any tags, yeah? But I see that seems to be a like a review, a testimonial, or something like that, right? So fine. I am an expert, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna find the one that I want. It's gonna say the tag from the taxonomy. And in this case, it's a testimonial. So I'm gonna add it. Okay, well, that's good. And maybe I had to add it because there was nothing there that actually pointed towards that particular tag, yeah? But look, Optiflow, it mentions a product called Optiflow. Well, why is not tagged with that? Let's look at it. Aha, it looks like there's nothing in taxonomy about Optiflow. Let's double check, that cannot be right. Let's double check here. Optiflow, there's nothing. Aha, well, this is generic. My taxonomy was generic. This is a specific product that I have. So let's extend the taxonomy with a new concept scheme, a new branch about products. And I'm going to add Optiflow. Again, super simple. I'm going to refresh the extraction model. So Optiflow is now considered. And what I'm going to do is that one, this one that also seems to be about Optiflow, I'm going to re-tag them. Yeah. So because now the knowledge in the taxonomy has changed, I want to actually refresh those tags or reset them. Yeah. So let's do it. And I want to refresh them so I don't want to lose the one about testimonial that I added manually. Yeah? So it takes a little bit of time, but then eventually, bam, Optiflow is there. I did not add it manually. Yeah. So the full cycle of understanding why you are not getting a concept and modifying without any IT background, modifying the knowledge, modifying taxonomy, the WAND taxonomy, extending it so that we get this. It is, again, it's very simple. And you can see that in, again, like 2 minutes, I did everything. I found the problem and I fixed the problem. Yeah. That's, again, like if you compare with other approaches where maybe there is a black box model that has to take days or weeks to recalculate, to react to the things that you want, even if you can influence it. This is very transparent, very, very explainable. So as Pepe says here, Pepe as well, with WAND and PoolParty from zero to hero. You'll be the hero of your company. Now, back to Ross.
Very good, very good. That took 20 minutes, okay, to download the taxonomy, to tag the documents. The consistency of the tagging is a big deal. If you have people, okay, if you know, and I use this, okay, if you have 2 domain experts, okay, with the same set of 100 documents, you'll get completely different tagging, even though they're both domain experts, okay, in those 100. What you got here is consistency in tagging. Alexei, 20 minutes. Why did it take so long? That's my question. Okay.
The video.
No, yeah, I mean, now it's a wonderful combination. But what does it matter? Okay, why do we even care about this? And one of the reasons we care about it is this is a good piece, good quotation from our friends at Gartner. 47% of digital workers struggle to find information or data needed to effectively perform their jobs. Now think about that, okay? Think about that, as in our own work lives, when we can't find something and we know it's someplace within the organization. When we can't find something, we either have to recreate it or we do without it. But it's extraordinarily frustrating. What you're doing now, okay, is you're providing intelligent libraries to people where they can quickly find the things that they need to effectively perform their jobs. They don't have to recreate things. They find the things, they find the documents that they need to do their jobs. Alexei, next slide, maybe. This is another great quote. The CEO, former CEO of HP, if only HP knew what HP knows, we'd be 3 times more productive. What Lou Platt was saying here is we could have a tremendous amount of knowledge, okay, in our documents here at HP. Tremendous amount of knowledge. Think about all the knowledge that goes into every document that we produce. But if we can't find that knowledge, if we can't find the documents, that knowledge is fast asleep, fast asleep. And Lou said, we want to be able to tag our documents. We want to be able to find them. We want people to be able to easily use them, not have to recreate them, not have to recreate the knowledge, not have to do without the knowledge. And maybe your company's going to be 3 times more productive, maybe 4, maybe 2 times. We don't know. But it's going to increase the productivity of your company. And if your company, okay, has intelligent libraries, people can quickly find the documents, quickly find the knowledge, okay, productivity is going to increase. And if their competitors, okay, aren't doing the same thing, okay, it leapfrogs. It provides, okay, our employees with the information to excel, okay, and to become much more productive than our competitors. And obviously that means we're going to gain more, at the end of the day, we're going to gain more sales, more revenues, more efficiencies within the organization. One point, next slide, Lexi. One point, our customers, what our customers tell us. And, we've got, customers all over the world. We call these foundation taxonomies, and our clients tell us it gets them 85, 90% of the way there. Some of our clients tell us got us 140% of the way there, because there were terms and phrases we would have never thought about had we built a taxonomy from a blank sheet of paper. So saved us a huge amount of time. Customization of the human resources taxonomy added 50 terms, less than 5% of the total. Every company is going to want to do a little bit of customization, okay, for their particular use cases. Probably the key point is the second from the last piece. People are experts at what they do, not experts in taxonomy building. Editing the pre-built taxonomy provides an easy contextual reference, helps with faster adoption. Users see relevant search terms quickly. You see, the PoolParty application makes it easy to do the customizations. It's really a beautiful combination. The before, we have libraries, we didn't know where anything was. The after, we have intelligent libraries. Just like Amazon, we can quickly find documents we're looking for. Alexi, great presentation. It's a good combination. Questions and answers, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you both for that very interesting presentation and the demonstrations. It's always a treat when we get to see the tools in action. We've had a few questions come in during the presentation, and I'm sure the audience is eager to hear the answers. So let's get right into the first question, shall we? I think you already just answered it, Ross, but this is one I think that we get quite a bit. We've done a few webinars together, so. So are the taxonomies US focused?
They are, and we'll give you an example. Okay, for instance, we've done comparisons, United States English versus British English, and 90% of the terms, okay, are the same. But there's going to be examples like in the United States, potato chips, in the UK, British English, potato crisps. Okay, so the taxonomy customization tools within PoolParty make it easy, okay, to make those changes and to add synonyms.
Excellent, very great. Next question: what happens when we add more sales and marketing documents? Are they automatically tagged?
Yes, well, it's up to you actually. So I showed there was one little toggle button that you could decide whether that is something that you want or not. Typically, I would say the default case is say yes. So whenever a new document is dropped in that document library that is already connected to a PoolParty taxonomy, is immediately that the tags for that library there will be, for that new document will be triggered, the auto tagging. And actually, I must say, Ross was showing before those suites of taxonomies, right, for one particular industry. If you were to use more than one to tag a specific set of documents, you could choose whether you want to trigger the tagging for all configured taxonomies or only for one, or like that would be up to you, right? But yes, absolutely.
Excellent. So we have a few that are kind of asking this. So one says, how do you manage term merges or deletions as business changes? There's another one that's, can I expand a WAND taxonomy when the context or the business changes? So kind of in that same vein, how do we manage that?
We provide, for instance, when we make an update to a taxonomy, we provide the deltas, okay, the updates, the changes, okay, to our clients, and then they can add them into the taxonomy, the various taxonomies within PoolParty. So, that just, keeps the taxonomy is very, very current. If you think about, the artificial intelligence, the changes that have been made, just in the last 6 months, we're constantly looking at, very, very volatile topics like that and making changes to the taxonomies. And then you can add those into your PoolParty implementation.
And I may add to that as well, that if you are then gonna be expanding the taxonomy with your own custom or like organizational specific knowledge, right? If you set up properly things in terms of URI, governance, and things like that, you will keep the provenance and you will know what is coming from WAND taxonomies, and then you can then create your own concepts with your own URIs, so you can easily differentiate what's coming from where. Yeah.
All right, we're back to the sales and marketing. What if I have different departments beyond sales and marketing? How can we incorporate them?
Different departments, sales and marketing, you may want, for instance, testimonials, a term in sales and marketing. You may have another taxonomy, set up another column for the various products, okay, that your company produces. So then I can do it, a search, a testimonial for product A, product B, product C. Alexi, do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a little bit unclear what's really the focus of the question, but yeah, you can expand your taxonomy, either the same taxonomy or have more taxonomies, more projects, right? There's no limit in PoolParty of how many projects you can have. But then also the question that should come after that is like, how do I differentiate? How do I segment access? Because my people who are working in marketing and sales, maybe they cannot access taxonomies that are maybe, let's say, about engineering, right? They're completely different departments. I don't know if that is where the direction of the question is going as well, but that is fine, because you can then, using the PoolParty groups, you can segment your users, so the people who work in certain area do not see what is not the problem, essentially, right? What is in different areas. I don't know if maybe that helps as well.
Makes sense to me. I hope that answered their question. If not, they can ask another one. Here's another one. Maybe similar. Can we have more than one tag column? So for example, one will have the WAND tags and another will have one for own taxonomy tags.
Yeah, this is what exactly, like I kind of jumped the gun earlier. So yes, you can set as many columns as you want. There's no limit. Each column could be a different taxonomy. There could be different concept schemes of the same taxonomy. All right. Yeah, and you can, yeah, there's no limit. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Another one here. We have a basic taxonomy in place, e.g. document type. Would WAND integrate with those?
So basic, document type, like this is an HR document, this is an accounting document, so on and so forth for a records retention. That's one possibility. The answer is yes. The answer to that is yes. I think that I think that's my response on that.
Sure.
There's a lot of flexibility.
Excellent. What happens if I get a whole taxonomy suite? There will be multiple taxonomies. Can I use multiple taxonomies to tag my documents?
Yes.
Yes.
This is the third time that I answer the same question.
Yeah. In fact, you may have multiple sales and marketing libraries, and to consolidate them into one library. This is a way, using the taxonomies, the various taxonomy domains, okay, to unify, to organize your libraries. So I don't have to go to 6 different sales and marketing libraries. Okay, we've unified them into one. And some of the taxonomy titles, workplace health and safety. Okay, it's a very, very sensitive area. Okay, in every country. Okay, are the workplace health and safety. All of the documents. Okay, in one library. It's a way to organize your libraries.
Excellent. All right, this one's for you again, Ross. And I already know the answer, but you romance this one. Is there a list of all the available taxonomies on the WAND website?
Absolutely. And, if you go to our website, it's pretty simple to navigate. Be glad, to do a, demonstration for the folks as well. But wandinc.com, www.wandinc.com, and there's a tremendous amount of information there.
Great. All right, I think we're getting through a lot of these. So one more here. Does Gen AI reduce the need for taxonomies, or do they enhance it?
It's a great question. This is another use case, okay, for Gen AI. Tremendous amount of interest in the taxonomies to inform AI engines, okay, of the structure of the corpus of documents that the AI engine is trying to understand. So the corpus of manufacturing documents, the AI engine doesn't know, what the structure should be. But by utilizing the taxonomies, our manufacturing taxonomy, it's if I came, I like to use the example, if I came to Vienna tomorrow, I've never been to Vienna in my life. I don't know where the streets are. I don't know where where the opera house is. I don't know where the restaurants are, the museums, so on. But if I come to Vienna tomorrow and you gave me a map, it informs the brain, it informs the AI engine of what the structure is. And that's what the taxonomies do, okay, for Gen AI.
And with Gen AI, the thing is like, it's fantastic. The results are fantastic if you don't know what you're talking about. But if you understand actually the domain, you will soon realize that actually a lot of things that is produced, it makes no sense. But it looks convincing. Then is exactly what I was saying earlier, like, how can you trust that? How can you influence that, right? So if Gen AI, if LLM is telling you the sky is red, where is the evidence? I don't know, right? So if the taxonomy, if the document is being tagged as like red, and I say, well, this doesn't make sense. Why is being tagged with red? I showed you earlier how easy it is to modify the taxonomy. You go there, change it in the taxonomy, retag, that's it. Immediate feedback loop. if the LLM is telling me that the sky is red, well, I don't know what kind of umbrella I'm going to grab, but I can do nothing about that. So trust is a really big topic.
It's a big topic. Okay, speed of implementation with AI implementations, okay, is accelerated markedly, as well as the accuracy of the results. On our website and our blog postings, you can find some articles about it, how taxonomies benefit LLMs, how taxonomies benefit AI. And, PoolParty's using AI to look at the content of the documents. Okay, PoolParty's an excellent example of AI.
AI is very broad. Like when I was studying, like a million years ago, one of my lecturers told me, once we understand how things work, we don't call them AI anymore. We call them algorithms. So I think maybe there is some reason here, right? So, or maybe the guy was just anyhow. Moving on.
Just give you one actual testimonial case. We did an implementation, an AI implementation for banking documents, and in the implementation was being used was PoolParty and a knowledge graph. And the engineer said to me, Ross, we provided the banking documents, banking taxonomies rather. He said, Ross, normally it takes 6 to 8 weeks to perfect the AI model. By having the foundation banking taxonomy working with PoolParty, it took 1 week to perfect the model. Okay, it's that simple. It informs the AI engine, okay, of what the structure of that domain of knowledge is to make it smart. But from 8 weeks to 1 week, and the accuracy of the results, okay, obviously are much improved.
Zero to hero. I guess we'll leave it at that. Those are all our questions today. I'm glad we ended on that one. The AI topic is always one that, gets a lot of good feedback. So thank you again for those insights. And thank you for the presentations today, gentlemen. And once again, thank you to all of you that attended today's webinar. These webinars would not be possible without your attendance. Please feel free to head over to poolparty.biz for more resources, and rest assured a recording of this video will be made to you in the next few days with a link right in your inbox. If you've enjoyed this webinar and have any suggestions on how we can improve, please fill out the short questionnaire which will be waiting for you once you leave the webinar, or you can email us directly at marketing@semantic-web.com. Once again, that's marketing@semantic-web.com. With that, I'd like to thank you all again for attending. We hope to see you soon, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you and goodbye.
Cheers.
Thanks to everybody. Bye-bye now.